Let's see what is going on. Good morning, everyone. I'm trying to go live on Instagram. Let's see what's going on. Good morning, everyone, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in, come on in, everyone. Say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If this is your first time joining one of my lives, definitely comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, we have a location in Orlando, Florida, but I'm in Orlando, Georgia today. Good morning, Duran. I'm doing great. Thank you. Copperfield says, I need a green card. Well, call us. Let's help you. Let's see if you qualify for one. Hey, Lady Ren from Florida. Um, for those of you who don't know me or are tuning in for the first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer and I represent clients all over the United States with their immigration matter as it pertains to, family-based, humanitarian, fiancé visa, consular processing, waiver, and all that good stuff. To schedule a consult, you can call 407 995-6567, or you can send us a WhatsApp 404-333-8751. Your location, again, is not a problem. St. Michael's, we don't have an office in Houston, but again, your location is not a problem. So call us if you want help. Good morning from Maryland, Jamaican Jinga. I guess she spells this in a funny way. Hey, Tennessee from Atlanta. How are you from Atlanta? Your name is Tennessee. You should change your name to something with Georgia, Atlanta. Okay, let's just get into it. Let's get into the questions. Good morning, Hoppy and YouTube. Elizabeth says, after Vawa approval, how long does it take to get the green card? So typically it depends. After Vawa approval, you're usually scheduled for your green card interview or you get a green card bypass. This will depend. I mean, the green card, if you get an interview or if you get a bypass, it doesn't mean anything. It's just that some officers are going to do an interview. Some are going to do a bypass. I would say from a timeline perspective, it could be anywhere from like 4 to 6 months after the original Vawa approval. They could either bypass you, send you an RFE asking you for your for your medical. They could also send you an RFE asking for your I-864W, depending on when you submitted your original Vawa an adjustment of status application. Others might call you for an interview, same window, and so that's usually the window. After that, if we've not heard anything that we want to see to make sure that the files are in the local field office. Okay. Alassane G says, good morning. Can someone file an I-751 abuse waiver immediately after getting the conditional green card? Technically, you could. So you can file an abuse waiver anytime after you receive a green card, a 2-year green card up until after the expiration date of the green card. As long as that abuse is occurring and you haven't gotten your 10-year green card, you can always file. As long as you have evidence to support that, you can certainly file. Okay. Ola Demeji Faka says, keep doing a good job. Thank you. I appreciate it. How long does a marriage green card take? Before it used to be easy to just give you like a timeline. Honestly, now it's really depends on your field office. USCIS has changed their processing where before you could just type the service center and get a timeline. Now for the 485, you have to basically go through, you got to go through whatever city that you're going to be interviewed in, and the timeline you'll get will be based on that city. And some cities have ridiculous timelines. I'm seeing a lot of people get it somewhere between 12 and 16 months. And this could either be via interview or via an interview bypass. So I would say most people are still within that window, even though some of them have like crazy timelines that are published. Let's say 30 months etc. I suspect that a lot of them say USCIS is doing that just to reduce the amount of people that are calling them. But basically, that's the window. Let's see. Drake Paris says, what is the timeline for Cleveland? Listen, I'm smart, but I am not that smart to memorize all 50 states and their timeline. If you want to check the timeline, you can just go online and type in, just Google USCIS processing time, type in I-485, put in your city, and it will tell you. But there's absolutely no way I know all 50 states and the different, not only all 50 states, the different field offices in all states, because some states have, several field offices. There's absolutely no way I would know that offhand. Can someone file for Vawa while waiting on a decision from USCIS? Interview was 2 years ago. Yes, if you do qualify, you have to qualify. If you qualify for VAWA, even though you already have a marriage-based case that's pending, you can certainly file for a VAWA case. Okay. Demeja says, I'm kind of 10-year green card holder, file for a green card for someone. Technically, yes, but how you can file it is going to depend on the person's current status, visa availability, what part of the world, are they in the US or are they outside the US? How did you get your 10-year green card? How long have you had your 10-year green card? Is it based on marriage? So as you can see, there are just so many variables. So you have to be screened to make sure you can check off all the buttons. But it is possible, yes. Okay, so Tynesha says, I can't see what whatever your first comment was. So I'm just going based on what you said here. You said, because I see some people getting their green cards in just a few months with an interview bypass. I'm not sure what you wrote before, but again, absolutely, that's possible. With timelines for immigration, there's absolutely nothing that's set in stone. I can tell you a timeline. USCIS can post a timeline, but ultimately it's human beings that are reviewing applications. So I can tell you 12 to 15 months because that's what the average is, or 70% of people, 75% of people get. But does it mean that there are going to be people that get it early? Absolutely. Does it mean there are going to be people that get later? Absolutely. Recently we just had someone get approved for after 6 months. So, it happens. But the thing is, I can't tell you for your own particular case or anyone's particular case for that matter, what their field officer is going to do, because I'm not the field officer. I don't know their caseload, so it can vary. When I give you guys timelines, I'm giving you guys timelines based on what the average person should expect. Meaning, if you call USCIS and say, well, I see people are getting green cards in 5 months, 4 months, how come I'm not getting any? They're not even going to pick up your phone. They're going to tell you to wait. So that's what I'm giving you based on. I don't know. I'm having issues on Instagram today. If you're on Instagram and you can hear me or see me, comment and let me know, because it keeps telling me that it's reconnected. So I don't know if you guys can see me on Instagram, but just let me know in the comments if you guys can see me. Ivansko says, is there any way to get information from USCIS about your VAWA case? You can't make any phone call or e-service request for VAWA because it's a very confidential process, and to protect the safety of the applicants, inquiries can only be made via your attorney or via a mail that's sent from you, like a physical letter that's sent by, okay, you guys can see and hear me, great. So, so you can't call them. Like, in a marriage-based case, you can always call, but you can't do that with VAWA, and this is to protect applicants, because you don't want a situation where your abuser is pretending or impersonating you and calling. So they have to verify that it's really who it is, and the address is coming from a safe address that the person has identified as a safe address. And then, if it's an attorney that's sending it, they have to verify that that's who's on the G28, or that there's a signed G28 confirming their the attorney. Okay, so this person says, from 2020, I keep getting extensions and not my actual 10-year green card. What could be the problem? 21, 22, 23. I'm assuming that you have an I-751. With I-751s right now, those are taking a long time. They could take anywhere from 18 to 24 months. So even though right now, if you look at the timeline, it's going to tell you longer, which is why if you have a pending I-751, you probably have gotten or will get a green extension paper saying basically we're extending your green card for 48 months. Keep in mind, 48 months, you're counting from the date of expiration on your original card, not 48 months from the date you received that letter. And the reason why they're giving that is because of the delay. So are most people going to take 48 months? I truly hope not, because that's ridiculous. So I truly hope not. Where do we see most people fall? Somewhere between 18 to 28 months. So I'm not sure at what point in 2020 you submitted your application. Was it at the latter part? So if you're still within that window, hopefully yours comes soon. Doesn't necessarily mean there's any problem. And if there is a problem, they will send you a request for additional evidence or notice of intent to deny. So with the I-751s, no news is good news. You have a green card. So you're able to do what you would do with the green card, essentially. If I'm married to a person on Medicaid, how does that work in getting a green card? So it doesn't affect you as long as you have a joint sponsor. That if you're assuming that your spouse doesn't meet the income requirements to be a joint sponsor, you, the immigrant, as long as you're not on public benefits, that will make you a public charge. That's fine. How long does it take for NVC to schedule an interview for a spouse at a consulate? Too long. It takes them too long. We have so many people we're waiting for right now. NVC is different for every country. We are truly at the mercy of, well, not NVC. Let me go back. We're truly at the mercy of local countries' consulates. So when you have what we call a document, once you become documentarily qualified, meaning you submitted all your documents to the National Visa Center and they say your documents are approved and we're putting you in queue, we're putting you in line for an interview. At that point, the person that schedules the interview is the field office, right? Not the field office, the USCIS consulate in whatever country. Some countries are very, very quick. I'll use an example of Cameroon. Cameroon is very, very quick. So if you're from Cameroon and you're on this live, do it now because it's very quick. To the point where clients will be like, oh my gosh, they're scheduled the interview already. I'm not ready. Whereas you have countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Jamaica that take a long time, because there are just so many people in line. And, you have those countries where a lot of people that are on ground, have the connects and they bypass and skip the line and get scheduled, and it pushes people back. So those are taking at least 12 months, honestly, to be scheduled. Can you get lucky? Yeah, you can. If you have a humanitarian reason for an expedited or medical reason, we can certainly hound and harass them until they schedule you, but it just takes a long time. Do you have to submit an I-765 even if you sent an I-485? If you want a work permit, yes, the I-765 is what gives you a work permit. So the I-485 is what gives you a green card. But before your green card, if you want to work, you want to submit an I-765. If you want to travel or you're not sure if you want to travel, but you just want the opportunity, if you need to travel, then you also want to do your I-131 so you can get a travel permit and, a work permit. Can I apply for a green card for my son while my I-751 is pending? I have my 48 months. How old is your son? And is your son married? That's the question for you. How can I get custody of my daughter when my immigration paper is still processing? I don't handle child custody issues. I don't know where your child is. So you probably have to look into the child custody laws of that. I emailed you trying to get a sooner appointment with you for my husband's petition. This is from Quinn Allbags. Unfortunately, I can't. There's nothing I can do. In order for you to get a sooner appointment, I would literally have to cancel somebody's appointment, and that's not fair to them. Typically, if we have any kind of cancellations, we always try to go through the list of people and just try to get people in if we have any cancellation, it doesn't happen often, but if there's someone that really needs that sooner appointment, especially if they have like a request for additional evidence or NOID, we really try to push, see if someone cancels. But it's really hard. If I'm not available, you can always schedule with one of my other associate attorneys, Chidera or Jordan. They would give equally as sound advice. We all work together here as a team. I've said that a lot on this live and to clients, like, it doesn't matter who's doing your consultation. I am going to be overseeing your work, and I am the one that's going to be signing on that dotted line. I am the one that's going to be reviewing your application page by page, making changes, making edits. I am the one that's going to be doing your interview prep. Sometimes I'll do your interview prep with one of the other attorneys, if, let's say, one of the other attorneys attending the interview, but I will do the interview prep with them. So even if you can't get a consult with me, you should still try to get a consult with any of the other ones if they're available sooner. Okay. Paul says, thank you for helping me to get my 10-year green card. Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. We're happy to do that. Malti says, I'm a green card holder and my baby is a citizen, but I traveled with my spouse to Nigeria. Along the line, my husband confiscated all my travel documents and my baby can't come. What can I do? Go straight to the U.S. Embassy immediately. Get off this live and go straight to the U.S. Embassy immediately. If your child is a U.S. citizen and you're a green card holder, you can go straight to the embassy as an emergency and let them know what's going on. America does not play about its citizens. Okay. All right, let's see. After filing for Vawa, how long does it take to get a work permit? The answer will depend on whether you file an adjustment of status or not. If you file an adjustment of status with a work permit application, then it can take anywhere from like 4 to 9 months. If you didn't file that, then you have to wait till your Vawa case is approved. And, Vawa's cases can take anywhere from like, on average 2 years to 2.5 years to get approved. Sometimes a little earlier, but that'd be the window. Alatinja says, in terms of I-751 abuse waivers, 1 second, guys, let me just get this out. Abuse waiver evidence, most evidence that I have are voice recordings. Do you think that's sufficient? So you can't mail voice recordings to USCIS. One of the things that you want to check, first of all, is that are you recording in a 2-party state or a 1-party state? So some states, it's I think a 3rd-degree felony to record without permission from the 2 parties. The other states where, as long as one person is okay with it, I'll speak about the 2 states where, for instance, where we have an office here in Georgia and in Florida, it's a 1-party state. So if I record it, doesn't matter whether the other person gives permission or not. So if you have those recordings in a 1-party state, those can be transcribed into a written text by a reputable company that can back their transcription, and then you can submit it that way. Of course you need, I think that audio alone just in a text transcription is not enough. I would need to know sort of like what kind of abuse you're experiencing so that we can recommend other things that you can include. It's always important to include like a personal declaration. You can always include affidavits if you've ever confided in anyone or told people about what you're going through. You can also go to therapy. If what you've dealt with has caused you any mental anguish or psychological issues, those are things that you can submit. Someone says, how does it work when you come through the border and get married to a green card holder? If you're filing a marriage-based case and you enter through the border, you're not eligible to adjust your status in the United States. In the United States, based on marriage, the only way you can adjust your status is if you entered legally. You entered legally with inspection, whether that was via land, sea, or air, but you had to have been inspected by Customs and Border Patrol person, and there's a record of your entry in a form of an I-94, wave through, whatever the case may be. An exception to that, like one exception to that, is if you're married and then you and your spouse start having issues and you have a spouse that's abusive, then you can file VAWA regardless of how you entered into the country. Do I have to file an adjustment of status alongside an I-130 and an I-130A? If you want a green card, yeah. But again, I don't know where your spouse is. You know, if you're filing it for somebody, I don't know where the spouse is, because the spouse is not in this country. You know, you're not going to be filing an adjustment of status because they're going to be doing consular processing. Someone says, we updated your date of birth. What does that mean? It could mean anything. It means maybe they had a typo, or you submitted a biometrics and you wrote, let's say on your form, you had the wrong date and you did your biometrics, and then in there your date changed, your date of birth changed. So they will update it to the most current date of birth if there was an error in your date of birth. Can I apply for my 17-year-old son while my I-751 is pending? Yes, you can apply for your 17-year-old son while that's pending. Can the 765 work permit be sent to USCIS after submitting the I-360 for VAWA? Yes, but only if you have an adjustment of status pending, or only if you're sending the 765 with an adjustment of status application. That's the 485. Otherwise, if you send a 765 with nothing but a 360, it's like a waste of a form, you know, because you don't need that to get a work permit through VAWA. Only if you're trying to get a work permit through having an adjustment of status and get your work permit quicker. How long do you wait after doing your medicals with a civil surgeon after your I-4 case has been approved? I don't know. I'm not sure if I understand your question. Can my K-1 visa work without a work permit? Technically, no. You know, if you have a K-1 visa, just do your adjustment of status and apply for a work permit so you can work, and make sure you've married within the time allotted of that 90 days. How long does your EAD take to mail out after you're told it's being produced? Most will take about 2 weeks. Like I would say, give it about 2 weeks. Production can sometimes take maybe like a full week. And then when they mail it out, you get it, you know, like a 2-day priority USPS mail. Okay, let me take some YouTube questions. Good morning. What's the average timeline for PR? Is that permanent residence filing for 10-year-old daughter in Jamaica? Please, thanks. So I'm assuming that you're a U.S. citizen filing for your child, or your spouse is filing for your child. I always say for consular processing in certain countries, just imagine that's going to take 24 months, 2 years. If it ends up being shorter, great. Sometimes it might end up being longer, depending on if they need more stuff from you or proof of, you know, parentage and all of that stuff. The first part is the I-130. The I-130 can take anywhere from like 6 to 15 months to be approved. Once that's approved, then you do the National Visa Center, can take another month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months to get documentary qualified, and then it's moved over to the queue for consular processing. So at the very minimum, put 24 months in terms of your timeline. If you end up getting approved earlier, then great. Okay. My stepson can apply for me 21 years when I get his. Let me try. This is Angela Lopez. I'm going to try and see if I can. I'm going to try and see if I can decipher what you're asking. My stepson can apply for me. He's 21 years old. When I got married to his mother, he was 4. I did not legally adopt him, but we're still together. So my interpretation of what you're saying is that you married his mother before the child, when the child was 4 years old. The child is now 21, and you and the mother are still together. Yes, you don't need to legally adopt your stepchild for them to file for you. You just need to prove that you and your stepchild have a relationship and that your stepchild can file for you, even if the parents divorce. As long as you can show from 4 to 21 you guys had a relationship and that is your child, they can file for you. Okay. Let's see, what else? One last question. How do you know when the proposed USCIS new fees come into effect? We will know because we will get a notification. Typically, the way it works is after this window that closed in March, what happens next is they review all those comments and make their decision. So I expect that sometime mid to late summer, we'll know their decision. If they are truly going forward with it, they will let us know when it will start and when it will be effective. USCIS would usually send like a communication out to those of us practicing and have email get email updates. Okay, guys, I had a great time chatting with you guys. If I didn't get to your question, schedule a consult 407-995-6567 or send us a message on WhatsApp if you want us to call you back, 404-333-8751. All right, guys, have a wonderful Tuesday. Bye.